Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about kind of how you're going to go about structuring campaigns, because trust me, I think I have like 24,000 campaigns in my AdWords account right now, and you got to have good structure, and they're all different types and whatnot. So what do you guys kind of suggest overall, or like how do you go about structuring campaigns because in types of campaigns?
Yeah. So in terms of structuring campaigns, so when you structure a campaign, you have to think about how you're going to analyze it. And you have to think about what Amazon gives you and what Amazon doesn't give you in terms of information. So for example, so like that's what you have to think about. I won't go into that. It's a whole thing. But the way that we structure campaigns is we just make sure that we have the product SKU in there. Like, so in the campaign name and ad group name, we make sure that we have our SKU in there, and we put in like the dates, we put in where we got those keywords, we put in the match type. The reason we put that in there is because it allows us to segment by those specific items when we pull reporting. And so, yeah. So a good example is like in the search term report, you're not given the search term by SKU. They don't give you that. So if you put your SKU in the campaign name and ad group name, then all you got to do is filter by SKU. Contains, using the, using an Excel thing.
Oh,
so,
yeah, nice.
Yeah, so that's how we get around that, and like that allows us, to find keywords by product versus you just writing like you're typing the name of your product. Some people put like lotion manual, lotion auto, but you need like that identifier, because what if you have 6 lotions? You know what I mean? You could do lotion red and things like that, but we like to put the SKU because that's what Amazon uses as the identifier. And so in the in the bulk file, so that's kind of how we name it. That's how we name it. And then each campaign is a different match type. So for us, each campaign is a different match type because it allows us to control the match type at the, control the budget at the match type level. So for example, with exact keywords, you might have like a high volume exact keyword that eats up, all your budget for the day, right? Or like it eats up the whole budget for that specific keyword, the exact. Well, if you had a campaign with exact, phrase, and broad in all 3 of them, well then no matter how much you increase that budget, that exact keyword is going to eat it up. And so if you separate them by, so if you separate them by match type, that exact can run out. And then what the phrase can do can kick in. And the cool thing about the phrase and the broad is what they do is they do additional keyword research for search terms.
Yeah.
And so that's why we structure those. That's why we break them out by match type. I know that's a little more tactical.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good because your budget is for the whole campaign as a whole. But then also, I guess do you think that the conversions of one sub campaign, those affect, like, is there like overall stats for a whole campaign, and which is like kind of made up of stuff from the other ones too, like to determine the overall effectiveness of it? Do you think?
So yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, how do you measure the effectiveness of these?
We don't need not know how to measure, but like, if you think that there is like enough, if all the sub campaigns affect the effectiveness, like if they affect each other, if they're grouped together,
versus being separated out.
Yeah, like does that have an effect?
I mean, I haven't run a study. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question, but I don't know the answer to that one. I haven't pulled any information on that one. That one is a mystery.
Taylor, do you have any?
Yeah, no, I would just say that the methodology of separating it out is a lot better, because if there was an influence, like if you did put them all together and somehow that influenced it, it's kind of like roulette. But if you separate it out, it's separated out. So it's more targeted. So you can be able to know that, hey, phrase isn't affecting this exact campaign, and you can also control the budgets better. So I would say it's just overall a little bit more accurate, I guess you could say. Unless
yeah. So so there's so you have the campaign, and then you have the ad groups. Okay. So and then you also have the keywords. So it's kind of this big branch category.
Yep.
So obviously we're saying, okay, we just have one ad group here for the item, but then now it's like the same problem of where there's all sorts of these. So you kind of want to like group these by like, do you somehow group these by like, okay, we're going to put like high converting, high bids, and then now make a new campaign. And like would people want to start segment, you don't need to say exactly how to do it, but like, would it be beneficial to start segmenting those into different types of campaigns then?
We don't. So if it's running good, just let it roll.
Okay.
And then what you want to do is you want to use like the phrase and the broad and the auto to keep pumping out the new unique keywords so that you can kind of like get visibility in different parts of the market. That's kind of our strategy in our friend. But we will like up bid or down bid, but we don't usually pull them out and test them just because, I mean, dude, I think Amazon really likes that history. And so they tend to work better if they've got a stronger history from our observations.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. Well, did you have any, so how does this, let's switch over to AMS then. So for structuring AMS campaigns, Taylor, what is it kind of like? We just talked about PPC, but AMS, like how it's kind of sucks. The interface does.
The interface actually got updated recently.
Oh yeah, no, it did just get updated. Yeah.
You're okay now. I mean, for most of the sellers, about 80% of the accounts that we have the new UI, but it's the same as Seller Central. So when you structure the campaigns, it's different because in a headline ad campaign, there's no ad groups. So you really have just one campaign with keywords in it. And a lot of people ask me, well, do you put only keywords with exact match type and then another campaign with phrase? We mix them. So it's separate to what Sean talks about. And honestly, we've just done this for simplicity's sake. And you could say that's lazy, but the point is that we don't want to have thousands of campaigns because it gets kind of ridiculous in the AMS account. It used to like kind of shut down. So all match types, one campaign for the keywords, basically, is what we do. And do you have questions on that?
Yeah. No, not on that because I got distracted by product display. So I'm like, wait a minute. But because I would get lazy, like because I got so much going on, and I'll put 30 in a campaign. I'm like, God, I wish I really knew each one of these how they're performing. But I do not have the freaking time
to go and launch 30 campaigns.
No. Or then analyze. I'm like, oh man.
So what we would do with the product displays, because they don't tell you which ASIN convert. So like if you're listening to this, you're kind of confused with Brock's time out is like the product display ads. You get to target ASINs, and if you put 30 in one campaign to target, you don't know which one's got the sale. So what we did is we just grouped them up by groups of 5, and we usually just took like the top 3 pages of products. So we would end up in having anywhere between like 5 to 8 campaigns for the product display ads on the top products. Because Amazon talks about how like 80% of shoppers don't go to page 2. And then I imagine like only 2% of shoppers make it to like page 3. So we try to cover the 80-20 in terms of the ASINs. And that's kind of how we do it.
Oh,
so
okay.
We do it into groups of 5. And that way it's not too clustered together and you have no idea what's converting, but you can start to break it down in the future if you want to.
Okay. So why has nobody made a software for this?
Somebody should. Taylor has.
We already built it. It's just
okay. Private. So that's why. So if somebody were to go with you guys, would they potentially have some form of using it?
They would.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, okay.
Both of them. Yeah, for sure. Included.
Well, that sounds worth money to just the headache. So you guys can see that. Okay, cool.